Hey guys, and welcome back for another video. Today I'm building the Starcrocs coffee shop. I originally made a larger version of this, and some of you may have seen the giant Starcrocs sign in the workshop, but that build ended up being really not user-friendly with all the paths and things because it was like 2 stories and it was just really complicated. So I decided to make a smaller, easier to use build. So let's go on with the video. So I'm going to use these vertical plank walls. I really like the color of them and I think it works really well for a coffee shop. I didn't have a complete idea of what this was going to look like. I usually don't. I kind of make it up as I go along. I think the hard part of making these custom shops is blended in the actual shop with these sort of fake counters that I'm going to build. So the idea was to have the Street Fox coffee, or in our case Starcrocs, on the right hand side acting kind of like a collection area for the drinks, which I suppose is kind of typical for like more busy coffee shops in like cities and things. Actually, just recording this now, I've realized that I put a door on the inside of the shop later on in the video, and I didn't put it on the other side, so there's just kind of a one-sided door, so I need to go through and fix that. I had a real hard time with these paths, and I think when you put down these custom floors and you attach them to shop and using the grid and things, you really got to make sure that all the shops are like definitely at the exact same level. Otherwise you can end up with problems like I have where the terrain is raised up and sticking out a bit and things. So just make sure that you put super flat ground down first as your foundation, and then put your shops down and then do your paths. So I'm trying to make a sort of coffee shop counter. I think it's kind of a shame that there's not more stuff like this in the game already, but then again, it's a zoo building game and not a shop building game, so it kind of makes sense. Hopefully as time goes on, we'll get more small props and food items and things like that to make the builds more realistic. But for now, we've got to stick to using random items for things like gutter pieces for taps or switches for coffee cup lids in my case. I was going to put a crocodile thing on the TV, but then I realized that I have no animals in the zoo because this is just a graveyard of all of my ideas. I think anyone that does a lot of build in this game has one of those graveyard kind of zoos that has probably not many animals in it and isn't really a legit zoo. It's just full of everything you've ever built and everything you want to experiment with. I'm trying to make a coffee machine using random bits of metal. The frame of it is using a metal sign that I found because it was the only bit of flat metal that I could really find. And I found this piece that I could use for buttons as well. Then I needed something I could use as a tap, the coffee to come out of, and I just ended up using one of these shapes. I was gonna have like mist coming out, but it spread out too far, and I wanted that to look like the steam was set off, but I guess we can't have that. In my last job, we had one of these coffee machines, and I constantly turned the steamer dial the wrong way and would spray steam everywhere. So it's probably a good idea that I don't operate those anymore. I ended up settling for a water feature. It kind of just looks like the tap's leaking, to be honest. As I was saying before, it's kind of hard to get food items and things. If you search for India, you get things like fruit, but obviously you wouldn't go to a coffee shop and just eat fruit, so it makes it a bit difficult. I think I ended up using a rock as a piece of bread, but you know, you kind of just got to improvise with these things. It was really annoying me that I couldn't make any cups, and it took me a while to figure it out, but I kind of settled for using 2 gutter pieces and this switch, and somehow it looks kind of like a square coffee cup. I'd really like to be able to change the font size and things like that of these signs a bit more. They're all very kind of standard in the sense that you can't change much about them, and some of them are like the text goes vertical and I'd rather that it went horizontally and things, and it's just kind of annoying, but maybe in the future we'll get more customizable signs. I did think about adding an outdoor seating area, but usually the guests don't really use it. They don't seem to like using the benches, at least in my experience, unless they get really tired and things. They did end up using some of them inside the shop, but I feel like it would just be a bit of a waste of space, to be honest. I'm gonna add in like a sort of raised seating area. I feel like these are pretty common in coffee shops for people that are sitting on their own or just don't want to take up a whole table. And I just realized that I'd made them way too tall, because when I saw the people come in, those seats were kind of like at their shoulders. But I'll probably go through and fix it anyway. I'm probably going to go through and change a few little bits, like add in that door that I forgot about, and make these seats actually a height that the guests could realistically sit at. I know they're not going to sit at it because it's not a standard bench or anything like that, but we can pretend. So I took the little coffee cup sign and I kind of edited it so it didn't say Street Fox Coffee, because obviously this is Starcrocs coffee and it is green themed and it has a star on it. So I went through and used the shape and changed it to the shade of green that I wanted to and put it on there, and I think it works out alright. I'd really like to have some smaller text I could use. I suppose I could find some in the Steam Workshop if I wanted to, but I'm trying to build everything myself, which I suppose is quite a challenge, and there's already some like really amazing things on the workshop and amazing little details and things that you can add to your zoos, so I don't see why I don't, to be honest. I really like all these Christmassy lights that I've got going on. I think coffee shops always seem really cozy around Christmas time, and I did think about making a Christmas version of this, and I think I probably will do. If you want to see that, let me know, and I'll just edit it and add some like Christmassy items and just make it feel more cozy. So I'm using this fire pit. I think it's from the Africa pack. And I'm going to build a little oven using these shape tools and the metal sign again as like a door. And I suppose hypothetically, this coffee shop maybe sells like toasted sandwiches or toasties or whatever you want to call them. I mean, we do have our rock loaf of bread just lying on our counter, so I guess it makes sense. So I had to go through and edit the inside of the shop because obviously it was Street Fox coffee, which is red and white, and I'm going for a green and white theme, so I had to go through and change all of the walls and things, which was a massive pain. And when I got to the roof, the camera was messing up and I kind of just gave up, but you can't really see that bit anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So I forgot to cover up the little fox head. It needs to be the Starcrocs logo, which is green with a star in it. It'd be nice if you could customize the size of the things like the circles and the squares and stuff. But yeah, we're done. And outside you can see my very boring buildings. We don't talk about those. So now that we're done, I hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to put this into your build, I will link the Steam Workshop down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.